Welcome to the journey of discovering one of the oldest and most mysterious cities on Earth, Gaza. Gaza is not only an indispensable part of human history, but also a powerful spiritual symbol, mentioned in Bible and ancient texts. Once the center of Canaanite civilization and the battleground between the Philistines and Israel, Gaza carries stories forgotten by time and memories of a boundary between the Promised Land and pagan forces. In this video, we will lift the veil on Gaza's turbulent history and discover why this city remains a powerful reminder of faith and resilience throughout the centuries. If you love history and spiritual mysteries, please hit like to support us and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming intriguing videos. Let's start our journey now. Gaza, with a history spanning over 3,500 years, was once a Canaanite settlement and is one of the longest continuously inhabited cities in the world. Not only does it have historical value, but this city also embodies deep layers of sacred significance. In sacred texts, Gaza is described as a physical boundary marking the promised land given by God to the Israelites, as well as a symbolic boundary of the challenges and temptations from pagan powers. Gaza first appears in the Bible as an important part of God's covenant with the patriarch Abraham, marking the sacred boundary of the Promised Land. This city, located at the southwesternmost point of Canaan, was a significant landmark along the Mediterranean coastline. In Genesis 15:18-21, God proclaimed, "To your descendants I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the Euphrates, including the territories of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephaim, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites." Gaza became part of the divine promise, reflecting the will of the Almighty and a deep connection between the Israelites and the Holy Land. Throughout history, Gaza's control passed among the Canaanite tribes, the Philistines, the Egyptians, and the Israelites, each time adding a new chapter to the city's story. However, the spiritual significance of Gaza has never dimmed. It remains a symbol of a boundary, not only geographically, but also in faith, where generations are called to remember the covenant and their loyalty to God. Gaza is more than just a location. It represents the bond between humanity and divine will. Just as Abraham journeyed through Canaan as an expression of faith, this city reminds us of the eternal values in our journey to seek and uphold the sacred. It is in Gaza that the greatness of the promise and the limits of covenant responsibility intertwine, forming an eternal symbol in the history of humankind. Beyond being a geographical and spiritual boundary in the Bible, Gaza also carries a deeper meaning as the source of challenges that threaten the Israelites. This city is associated with famous figures from biblical legend, such as Goliath, the giant warrior and a symbol of pagan strength. Although Goliath is identified in the book of 1 Samuel as being from Gath, some other texts suggest he originated from Gaza, reinforcing the image of the city as a Philistine stronghold where threats arose to challenge Israel. In 2 Samuel 21:20-21, another giant from Gath, with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, is described as a descendant of Rapha and a testament to the extraordinary forces that once opposed Israel. However, giants like Goliath symbolize not only physical strength, but also represent pagan opposition, standing in contrast to the Jewish faith. The battle between David and Goliath, where a young boy overcame a giant warrior, is not merely a story of bravery, but also illustrates the superior power of faith and righteousness in the battle against godless threats. Gaza also appears in another story involving Samson, the judge captured by the Philistines and brought to the temple of Dagon in Gaza to be humiliated. Though blind and imprisoned, Samson, in Judges 16:23-31, was granted strength by God to bring down the temple of Dagon, killing his oppressors and demonstrating the power of divine will. This event affirms that even in the face of defeat, spiritual strength can reverse the situation and bring ultimate victory. Goliath and Samson are two opposing symbols, representing the greater conflict between the Philistines and the Israelites. Gaza, as the center of Philistine power, is portrayed as a symbol of false worship and forces that oppose God. However, these stories also remind the Israelites that through steadfast faith and divine power, they can overcome any adversity, no matter how great. Gaza is not just an enemy fortress, but also a testament to the power and loyalty to the one true God. Gaza is not only known as the source of pagan threats, but is also mentioned in the Bible as a landmark close to events that demonstrate God's mercy and divine power toward Israel. This city is not the center of battles, but its proximity to miraculous victory sites has highlighted Gaza's role in the righteous journey of the Israelites. In the book of Joshua, Gaza is described as being near the site of the Battle of Gibeon, where Joshua led the Israelites to defeat the Amorites with direct intervention from God. According to Joshua 10:11, as the Amorites fled, the Lord hurled large hailstones down on them, and more of them died from the hailstones than by the swords of the Israelites. This was not just a military victory, but also a testament to divine protection, reinforcing the Israelites' faith in God's power during their most challenging moments. Gaza reappears in the book of Joshua as the southern boundary of subsequent conquests. After the victory at Hazor, Joshua led his forces to eliminate the oppressive Canaanite powers, acting under God's command. As recorded in Joshua 10:40-41, Joshua conquered from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza and all the region of Goshen to Gibeon. These conquests not only expanded the territory, but also clearly established the boundaries that Israel, under divine guidance, had won from evil forces. Gaza's role in these stories goes beyond being a mere geographical location. The city became a symbol of Israel's expansion and consolidation of power through God's grace. Gaza marks the endpoint of the land controlled by the Israelite civilization, border beyond which pagan influence still lingered. Through events near Gaza, the Bible affirms that righteousness, led by faith and divine intervention, can overcome all trials and challenges from evil forces. Gaza is also known as a strategic trading center on the Mediterranean coast. With its prime location, Gaza connected important trade routes from Egypt to Mesopotamia and the Mediterranean kingdoms, making it a vibrant city with bustling ports. Merchants and travelers from all over gathered here, bringing wealth and cultural influence. However, this cultural diversity and international presence also brought spiritual challenges to the Israelites. Prophets like Elijah, Ezekiel, and Zephaniah often condemned Gaza for its role in spreading pagan worship through trade connections. As warned by the prophets, engaging in trade activities with Gaza not only brought economic benefits but also tempted the Israelites to stray from their faith in the one true God. Therefore, controlling Gaza was not just of military importance, but also symbolized the effort to maintain spiritual purity, resisting global secular influences. In modern history, Gaza's strategic role continues, but in a different context. Since 2005, Gaza has no longer been under Israeli control and has become part of Palestinian territory. After Hamas took over in 2007, this area became a flashpoint in the Israel-Palestine conflict, with ongoing clashes over blockades, rocket attacks, and military measures. For Israel, Gaza continues to symbolize a vulnerable region facing strategic and spiritual challenges from outside its borders. Today, the name Gaza not only brings to mind images of political conflict, but also reminds us of the age-old struggle to maintain Israel's unique spiritual identity amidst its inevitable connection to the broader world. These issues remain at the heart of both ancient and modern history, creating a complex link between the past and present of this land. Gaza's rich history offers many profound lessons for our spiritual lives, particularly in how we view the relationship between faith and divine blessings. In the Bible, God not only granted the Israelites the land of Canaan, but also extended his promise to farther territories, including lands with border cities like Gaza. However, over time these boundaries were no longer upheld, not because of a lack of land or resources, but due to a decline in faith and unity among the people. Gaza, once a strategic border outpost, gradually became a symbol of lost power, reminding us that divine strength and blessings are not solely dependent on military or political might. Instead, they are maintained through loyalty, spiritual purity, and a united community devoted to God. As history has shown, only when the Israelites nurtured their faith could they fully live within God's promise. This lesson still echoes in the present. The political borders we see today, whether in Gaza or elsewhere, are merely faint reflections of what was destined by divine will. To truly achieve complete blessings, we must walk on the promised land of our lives with strong faith, rather than relying on worldly solutions. Gaza reminds us that lasting prosperity does not come from material power, but from a deep connection with the will of the Almighty. Gaza, in ancient texts, is not only a symbol of conflict, but also associated with great spiritual challenges. The city was linked with formidable enemies like the idol Dagon, representing temptations that lead people away from faith. Today, modern idols, wealth, power, ego, or hatred promise satisfaction and success, but ultimately bring emptiness and failure. Just as Dagon was defeated, the false gods of today also easily fall under the power of true faith. Like David, we need to face the giants of our lives with courage and righteousness. A stone guided by God can overcome any obstacle, no matter how great. Gaza is a powerful reminder that even when surrounded by adversity, faith in God will help us overcome all difficulties. Moreover, Gaza's multicultural history provides an important lesson about cultural interactions. The city's ports once welcomed merchants, sailors, and goods from all over the world, bringing not only wealth, but also ideas and spiritual challenges. Although this exchange sometimes exposed the Israelites to spiritual challenges, a closed society cannot grow. Like the spices and silk that once arrived at Gaza's ports, diversity will bring richness if we maintain our identity and faith. Ultimately, the lesson from Gaza is that a strong people with deep faith do not fear external influence, but instead can spread their light to transform the world. Gaza reminds us that, even when facing temptations and external pressures, faith is always the foundation that helps us overcome all difficulties. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. We are called to uphold our covenant with the Heavenly Father and live according to the principles He has set. For some, Gaza is the root of current territorial conflicts, while others argue that biblical claims are no longer relevant to the modern situation. However, history has deeply embedded the religious significance of this land, not only for Israel, but for the entire region. The prophecies from Zephaniah 2-4 to Isaiah 11:14 depict Gaza as part of major end-time events where conflict and hope intertwine. Ezekiel 25-15-17 even warns of Gaza's destruction, emphasizing that revenge and hatred only bring sorrow. Yet, beyond the dark predictions, the prophecies about Gaza also serve as a powerful reminder of the potential for reconciliation. Though the current situation in Gaza remains complex, with millions living in poverty and ongoing conflict, we must not lose hope. God is heartbroken to see children from both sides, Gazan and Israeli, suffer. If ancient hatred could be replaced by compassion, it would become a bridge to peace. Today, Gaza could once again become a gateway, not between ancient civilizations, but between hearts yearning for reconciliation. Instead of confrontation, we call on political leaders to pave the way for negotiations and build understanding. With compassion, we can help alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and invest in efforts to build connections between younger generations on both sides. As descendants of Abraham, both Muslims and Jews have a responsibility to unite, heal the wounds of the past, and cherish their shared heritage in the Holy Land. Gaza, once a symbol of conflict, can now become a guiding light for lasting peace, just as ancient lighthouses once guided sailors back to shore. Let this vision ignite our faith, so that the light of hope continues to shine even in the darkest moments. As the ancient divine promise tells us, if we do not give up hope, hope will not give up on us. May God bless and guide us all on this journey, now and forever. Thank you for joining us in exploring the spiritual history and valuable lessons from Gaza. Despite its turbulent past, we believe that the future can be built on a foundation of understanding, reconciliation, and compassion. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about the lessons from Gaza? And what hope do you have for a more peaceful world? If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Let's spread the message of faith and peace to more people. May God bless us all, and see you in the next video.